Hi, Teresa. I am making another video. I quit my job today, and I want to tell you why before I forget. And I spilled water on my bed. I spilled like a whole cup of water on my bed, so that's there. And basically, it was just like really, really bad. Okay, for one, sexual harassment. It is illegal for you to be sexually harassed in the workplace, even if that is coming from guests, customers, other people, whatever, and other employees, whoever it's coming from, that's illegal. And it's illegal for your employer not to prevent it. And that's number one. What was happening was no response or just complete negligence toward sexual harassment complaints. That was a big problem. Number two, my coworker needed to go to the ER, and the manager was telling him not to, that it's not a big deal, that he should stay. He made him stay to conduct an interview that the manager could have done himself, and he wanted him to stay like a few hours longer too, but luckily he didn't listen, and he did go to the ER, and he could have died. And because he waited, he had to have all of his toes on one foot amputated, because the infection that he was suffering from had progressed so far that he had a fever of 103, and he had sepsis, and the infection was in the bone. So they had to amputate all of his toes, and he could have died, all because his boss, my old boss, was telling him not to go to the ER and making him stay at work, which is, that's like, obviously that's so unsafe. Okay, that was happening. Also, there was no emergency training. I happened to be looking at the emergency binder on like a whim because I was curious. I saw it on the shelf when I was waiting to talk to my manager one day, the manager in question who prevented this person from going to the ER. I was waiting to talk to him, and I decided to read the emergency binder, and I found out that in the case of a fire, I would have been responsible for evacuating everybody in the whole building, and it's a hotel, which means that there's 3 floors worth of guests that I would be in charge. All of their lives, I'd be responsible for them. But he didn't think that I should know that before leaving me alone in the hotel late at night. So that's another big safety hazard that was just, I can't ignore that. I can't ignore that. That's, sorry, that's terrifying. What else aren't you telling me? Wow. He also told me to my face that he was comfortable breaking the law, specifically when it came to workers' rights and safety guidelines from OSHA. He told me that to my face, on the clock, in front of other people too. Yeah, we had a whole conversation about it. And at first he didn't think that was breaking the law, and then he said, well, I'm comfortable with that. Like, I can still do it, even if it's breaking the law. And I said, you're comfortable breaking the law? That's what you're telling me? Like, as my employer, how can I trust you after that? What? Yeah, and obviously, like, if he's stopping people from going to the ER when they could be dying, when they are dying, I can't trust a boss like that, obviously. Anyway, yeah, it was incredibly unsafe to be there, and there wasn't even concern for our physical safety when we were being sexually harassed, and like, you know, people were like using foul language and claiming that they were in the hotel, and that, you know, but you know, that's fine. Why would you need to respond to that? Why would you want to make sure that your employees are safe when you can just say, oh, whatever, they don't have anything better to do, whatever. Okay, that's supposed to make me feel better. That's supposed to make me feel safe. Yeah, and multiple occasions of negligence toward this, like, just, that's just is what it is kind of thing. Like, that's so illegal. No, we won't be doing that. Sorry, no. And there wasn't even, I didn't even get to fill out an emergency contact form. Like, something as simple as that. No emergency contact form. Like, not even to mention that I wasn't trained on any emergency procedures or any safety, anything. But there was not even an emergency contact form. So if something happens to me while I'm on the job, or if something happens to the hotel, nobody would know what happened to me, and they wouldn't be able to alert anyone because they don't have my emergency contact information. So that's scary as well, because I also have disabilities, and if I have a medical emergency at work, they don't have any way of contacting the people who I need to support me in the case of a medical emergency. Just completely, I mean, obviously that pales in comparison to the fact that they literally told somebody not to go to the ER who was dying, and because of that he had to lose all of his toes on one foot. It's just so disturbing. And I said that I would make a video about it, so that's what I'm doing, because sometimes I can forget and start to think like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done that. No, I definitely should have done that. I needed to do that. That was a really unsafe place to be working. And there were no like real safety measures or any kind of organized system of safety at all for somebody who's going to be alone at the front desk of a hotel through the late hours of the night, and then possibly soon like through like overnight from like 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. like just alone there with no security, and already being told like by people who've worked there longer that they're leaving because of the sexual harassment, how bad it is and how frequent it happens. Like, yeah, obviously, like, there was just way too many safety hazards, and to know that the manager not only doesn't have your back, but just completely like wants to put your life on the line, so that not even for the hotel, not even for the job, just so that he doesn't have to work as hard, because he could have stayed that day and he could have done the interview, he could have taken care of everything that he was making that person do instead. It's just horrifying. So that's why I quit my job, and I told him all of those things too. I told him to his face, because it was just egregious, and frankly it was just not legal even. So, and I tried to tell as many people about it as well that I could, because the people who have been working there longer, who didn't just start, they need to know how bad the situation is that they're in, and they might think that they need it because it's all that they can get, or they can't get something better, or etc. But it's not worth putting yourself in such a unsafe environment where anything could happen, and you don't even know if, basically, you know for sure that the manager will do anything he can to screw you over, even in the case that you or your life is in danger. They deserve to know, so I tried to tell them. And I told him that he needs to know. Obviously, he didn't want to hear it. He just said, "Thank you, have a great day," and handed me my last paycheck, which is fine because part of him absorbed it. Anyways, if you forget why we quit, that's why. And you still did a really good job getting the job. You worked really hard for it, and you gave it your all. You definitely tried to apply yourself to it and make the best of it, and you did have fun. You made a lot of friends, and I think that given the disorganized training that you were given, you really really showed a good standing there, and you were well liked by the guests, so that's important. And the next step that we move on to is going to be even better, because yikes, yikes, yikes. So be proud of yourself. Okay. Have fun remembering when you see this again.